This conference will now be recorded.
Brilliant. Okay. So let's start then, and hopefully we've got more people joining us as we go along. So, well, thank you all for joining us on that miserable day, really. Outside is not great. Hopefully spring is around the corner. So yeah, today's all about Mother's Day, getting ready for Mother's Day on Sunday. And unfortunately, that's going to be the second Mother's Day on lockdown, because actually last year, the first lockdown started on the weekend of Mother's Day. So not great, but hopefully next year we'll be able to go out and enjoy ourselves for Mother's Day. So before we start, let's introduce ourselves a little bit. Hopefully you all know us, but I'm going to start with myself. So my name is Audrey. I've been a Thermix advisor and team leader for about 6 years. I'm based in Birmingham. And yeah, I think that's pretty much what you need to know for now. So Claire, do you want to start?
I'm Claire. I'm based near Loughborough, between Loughborough and Nottingham. Same as Audrey, really. We did our training together about 6 years ago, so that's how long I've been an advisor. And I absolutely love it, and I love the Thermix with a passion. So hopefully you'll all learn something today, and I certainly learned something today already, so I'll tell you about that later. But hopefully you'll all enjoy something and get something out of today.
Brilliant. Thank you, Claire. Jess, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi all. So I'm Jess. I'm very new to the advisor role, but I've been a Thermomix owner for just over 3 years now. But I've seen it in the making with Claire for the last 6.5 years. So yeah, I've decided to jump on board because I just love it so much, and I've now become an advisor. So this is my first demo, so please be gentle with me.
Everything will be fine. And you've just got your TM6 for what, 2-3 weeks now in your kitchen?
Yeah.
You've obviously got your TM5, but you've got TM6. And tell us about what new feature you enjoy the most with the TM6 from the TM5 to compare.
Oh, having cookie dough on the screen, just being able to just search there and not having to get my phone and that sort of thing. Sous vide, oh my word, my steaks, that's it. I will not be doing them any other way now. They are just amazing. So the new sous vide feature, the high heat function with caramelizing as well, so which I'll be showing later.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything, I love it. It's not going back.
It's staying there, absolutely, yes. So we're going to start. So all the recipes we're going to make. So hopefully you all seen what the menu we are going to do. I know I've shared with my customer. I think Claire and Jess have also shared. And Stephanie is here. I don't know if you want to put your unmute yourself, but have you shared with your guest here the menu for today, or maybe she can't talk, I'm not sure. So, well, I'm going to go through anyway, just so you know what we're doing. So first, we're going to start with Claire, who will be making a savory crayfish eclair. And this is from the Afternoon Tea UK collection. So you can find it on the UK Cookie Dough on the Afternoon Tea collection. Then we will go to Jess' kitchen, and Jess will make her scone recipe that you will be sharing with us. So that's your own recipe, and you will be making as well a caramelized red onion chutney. That this is actually from the Simple Idea cookbook. So for those who have the TM6, it's on the book that comes with your TM6, but it's also on Cookie Dough, obviously. Then I will be making the fresh fruit tarts. That again is from the Afternoon Tea collection, the UK one. And we will go back to Jess with a lime yogurt mousse with strawberry coulis. That looks absolutely amazing. And this is from the our Easter menu Cookie Dough collection, again on the UK one. And finally, I will be making a golden fruit smoothie, and that's from the USA Cookie Dough, and it's from the Mother's Day branch. Mother's Day brunch collection. So you'll be able to find all those recipes on Cookie Do. Obviously, to have access to the one in USA, make sure you go to your filters and just click United States. So as I say, the idea behind this cooking class is about inspiration, ideas for Mother's Day. Hopefully you've got some plan to treat your mom, or someone will treat you, and obviously what's a better idea to use your Thermomix and make some lovely treats. So we're going to show you all of that. Hopefully that's going to give you ideas to make them for Sunday. The last thing I just wanted to mention before we start cooking, if you are on our customer newsletter, hopefully you will have seen that, or you will have seen on the Thermomix social media that this month Vorwerk UK is supporting an amazing charity called Woman Aids. So we are on the march to raise £50,000 this month for Women's Aid. And obviously this month is all about women celebration. We've obviously Mother's Day, International Women Day that we had on Monday, and it's also Women's History Month, March. So there's lots of celebration for women this month. Just to give you a little bit of figures in terms of so what Women's Day, Women's Aid support is obviously all the women who are experiencing violence and, what's the other word?
Domestic abuse.
Abuse.
That's it, abuse. Thank you very much. And there's some interesting, unfortunately not great figures, but during the lockdown started last year, 67% of the survivors are currently experiencing worsened abuse due to the COVID and the lockdown. So obviously, we are going through this this pandemic, and there's lots of women out there who unfortunately are experiencing more violence. So as we say, we just want to support this charity. Now, if you have received a newsletter or on social media, you have seen the Thermomix not ads, posts, that's it, about that. You will see the link of how to donate for this charity, but it's just giving.co.com that you can donate money. And if you I will share the link actually after the class. We can all share the link as well. So if you want to donate, you can do that. And also, if you hashtag, so when you do your donation, if you hashtag Give a Lifeline, you will enter a raffle to win a TM6. So, and you can donate as a minimum of £5 or more. So just remember that if you are going to donate, just to hashtag this. But we will share all this information with you later on, so you know exactly what to do. Right, so shall we start cooking?
Yep.
And we're going to start with Claire then. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the crayfish, savoury crayfish eclairs. Confession, I went to buy crayfish and it was really, really expensive. So I bought some prawns instead to put inside them, which I think will be the same sort of thing. It's basically like a prawn mayonnaise inside the choux buns, the eclairs. So I don't know if any of you have made choux pastry before in the traditional way, stirring it on the hob in a saucepan, but Thermomix is fantastic for doing choux pastry. So whether you do savoury or sweet choux pastry, it takes out all the hard work for you. One thing I found out this morning that I said I was always learning, because I've pre-prepped some, I thought I'll just do a small portion and I'll cut down the recipe by 2/3 and just do a third. It doesn't work. So I had some very sad, flat-looking choux buns, so I redid them with the whole recipe and it was absolutely fine. So I'll show you those later. So I'm just going to do that. So as Audrey said, this is in the Afternoon Delight Cookie Do collection. So I've got it set up under my week. So my machine just turned off, turn it back on again. Okay, so I'm just going to start preparing the choux pastry. I've weighed everything out, so I don't need to measure it. I'm just grating Parmesan. If you haven't grated Parmesan, it's one thing that you really ought to do, if you use Parmesan, that is, because put your Parmesan in, put the lid back on, 10 seconds at speed 10, and it will grate the Parmesan perfectly. So I'm just going to tip this back out. So this is going to be used on top of the eclairs to give them a nice cheesy topping. So if you haven't done your Parmesan before, absolutely do it. You can keep it in the fridge in a sealed container for use whenever you're ready. So put that to one side. Don't need to clean the bowl out because it's going to have a cheesy flavour anyway. So 80 grams of butter, which I've diced up. 150 grams of water. So I'm just going to use the measuring cup. Some people aren't aware that they just accept that this is called a measuring cup, but we can actually use it to measure. It's got 2 marks inside it for 50 and 100 mils. So I'm going to put 150 grams of water in there. That's 100, filled it up for the first one. $150, got that exactly right. A couple of pinches of mustard powder. So I'm just using Coleman's English mustard. A little bit of cayenne pepper. Again, these are just optional, just to add a little bit of flavour to the choux buns. You don't have to do them. And some salt. Okay, so mix that up. So it's going to cook this now for 5 minutes. Once it's cooked this, I'm going to hand over so that I think once it's cooked this, I'm going to add in some flour. So it's about 120 grams of plain flour gets into it, gets mixed in, and then we need to leave it to cool before we add in the eggs. And then once it's cooled, we'll add in the eggs. I'll come back and do that a little bit later. If I add in the eggs while it's still hot, then the eggs will just cook and it'll probably all curdle and go pretty horrible. But once I add in the eggs, it'll just stir it, and this is the stuff that you would normally stand over the pan and stir. You don't need to do that, just let the Thermomix do all the work. So that's just going to cook that down for 5 minutes. I'll put in the flour, but you can come back to me a little bit later.
Brilliant, thank you. So shall we start with Jess and your scones?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm making cheese scones. Now, there is a recipe on Cookie Dough for cheese scones, but I make these every single day at my workplace. So I've chosen my own recipe, and again, it can showcase that the Thermomix you can do make from your own recipes. You don't have to use the pre-guided ones. So weighed out some cheddar cheese here. So I'm just going to grate this first, and then we'll add all the rest of the ingredients. So now, because it's a soft cheese, I won't need to do it as hard as high as Parmesan. So I'll just do it to probably about speed 5, just for a few seconds. You'll hear it changing. Anyway, oh, my earbud's just fallen out. Apologies. Oh dear. Right.
So just Stuart, yes, Stuart. I will share the recipe that Jess is doing for the scones.
Yeah. Okay, so there we go. So yeah, kept it down there. Now I'm going to tip some of this out to keep it for the topping. So you just want a nice handful of sprinkles. So leaving the rest of the cheese in there. And so for those that haven't seen the TM6, you have got scales like the TM5, but this time it actually does it down to the individual grams rather than 5 grams. So it's really useful for when you're doing baking recipes especially. So I'm now going to add some unsalted butter. This is actually half the recipe that I use, because I normally use a kilogram of flour to make all my scones, so I'm not going to do that in this today. So I'm just going to add my whole grain mustard onto there. And then I'm just going to give this a quick whiz just to smooth out the butter a little bit. There we go. And now I'm going to add the flour. So there's 450 grams of flour here, that's just about up to your limit of the bowl's size in here. So it still allows you to rotate. Bit of baking powder. And then just a wee pinch of salt. Okay, so I'm just going to basically just mix all these dry ingredients together. Okay, and now I'm going to take the measuring cap off, because what I'm going to do is I want it to be rotating as I add in the eggs and the milk. So I add 2 eggs to this particular one. Just going to weigh down the sides. Show you this just so you can see. So yeah, it's all mixed together nicely there. And cheese, amazing. And so you can use any cheese that you want really. If you want to use Parmesan, or I sometimes do a Stilton and broccoli, so I'll use the Stilton in there. Or if we've got any flavoured cheeses like the Stilton and cranberry, something like that, they make really nice ones as well. So I'm going to put this on reverse speed because I don't want it to chop it up. I need it to knead it, if you like. There is the knead function, but I prefer this myself just so I can watch from here, and I'll show you once it starts. I'm just going to put it on speed 3, and then I'm going to slowly add the eggs. I'll bring my camera so you can see. Okay. So I want that into a nice dough, not sticky. I'm just going to let the eggs mix, and now I'm going to pour in some milk. So I just do it gradually, and it's by the eye on this. You just want to make sure it's not overdoing it.
Coming out nicely, yes.
Yeah. It's now starting to form into that dough, and you can hear it changing as well. There we go. Right, that's ready for me to tip out.
So Jess, you were saying that sometimes you do up to 1 kilo of flour then for that recipe.
Yeah, so the recipe that I use at work, because we make so many scones, I will do 2 batches basically of this in the Thermomix, because the recipe that we use is for a kilogram of flour. So it does fit, but it's a struggle for the blades afterwards. So that's why I halve it and do it in 2 batches.
Yeah, but it's so quick to make, is it? It's just still, even by doing 2 batches, you still make it really super fast, is it?
Yeah, and that's it. There's no like clean hands, because normally you're in and you're kneading it around. So I'm just going to put a bit of flour on the surface.
Well, just while Jess is doing that, I've just added the flour into my choux pastry. So I've mixed it. It's now just got to cool for about 10 minutes because it's pretty hot at the moment, because it was melting down the butter and the water together and heating it. So I'm going to leave that now for about 10 minutes
and I don't
before I add the eggs.
Anyone knows as well, but quite a good tip is, like, if that a recipe you need to let your bowl cool down, you can always put your bowl back onto the base of the Thermomix, and it will tell you what the temperature of your bowl is. That's right. So I think you want to be about 37, 40 degrees for that recipe.
Well, about 45 degrees, yeah.
Yeah. So you can check that, and that's a great tip.
So I don't know if you'll be able to see it here, but I don't know if you see that at all. So up here, it's on the temperature dial, it actually says it's 70 degrees at the moment. So it's too hot at the moment. You probably can't see that very well. But I can, as Audrey says, I can just check the temperature of it. So I'm going to take it off so it'll cool down a little bit quicker.
Brilliant.
Okay, so you can come back to me in another 10 minutes.
Thank you.
So I've
So
just
back to
tipped
you,
my dough
Jess.
out, and you can see that it's literally just come clean out, which is, to me, that's perfect. So it's just on my top here. I don't know if I can see it. So I'm literally just going to just press it together, because you don't want to overwork. I'm sure you've all made scones. You don't want to overwork a scone dough. I just pat mine down. Some people I've seen use rolling pins, but I tend, when I've done it before, they just come out flat. So I'm just literally just pressing down just so it's flat. I'm just going to cut some rings out. So yeah, you can use any cutter.
So what is your dimension, the one you're using? Do you know the dimension of your cutter?
I don't know on this one, because the one I normally use is actually at work.
Right, okay.
So this one is a bit bigger than I would normally do, but they are so worth it. So the bigger the better.
Yeah, and you can just have fun, and you can just use literally any dimension that you want. If you want to serve it into like an afternoon tea stand, then you can go quite smaller.
Yeah. So I'm just going to get out the one that I use at the moment for all my afternoon teas. It's just a smaller one, because they come up quite big. They do grow anyway. They rise in the oven. So I'll show you once they're done. So once I finish the ring, I'm literally just patting it back together again.
Yeah.
So
do you want me to start
cold
with my recipe, or do you want to carry on?
I'm just done now. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to, with the rest of the milk that's there, just milk wash the top of them. So there they are, quite thick. And then I'll just sprinkle the rest of the cheese on top, and then they'll go in the oven. I put them in at about 160 for about 25 minutes. So these will finish by the time we've finished, so you can see the end result.
Brilliant, thank you. That looks a really good recipe. I'm definitely going to try your recipe because it looks like the dough comes out so perfectly. The one on a cookie dough, I find it's a little bit sticky, the dough, but this one looks really, really good. So I will give it a go. Right, so on to my recipe now. I'm going to make the fruit fresh tart, and we're going to start with the pastry. Now, pastry, who is, when they hear that word, is a little bit scared of doing pastry because it can go. Jane is laughing there. Have you had some funny story with pastry? So here I'm just going to go on to my week. I've put, for the one who have Thermix and cookie dough, you can obviously plan all your recipes, and when you switch on your Thermix, you go to my week and just select your recipe. So I'm going to start with it. So this pastry we're doing is obviously a sweet pastry, and it's quite rich. It's got 2 yolks, egg yolks. It's got butter that actually I'm going to bring out of the fridge because it has to be really cold. Right, okay, so I'm going to start the recipe, and I need to put 100 grams of unsalted butter, really cold, and diced as well. So what you can do as well, you can actually, before doing your pastry, put it just 5 minutes in the freezer just to make sure it's really cold, because that's the key of making the perfect pastry, is just having really cold butter. So that goes straight into the mixing bowl. I've measured all the ingredients like Claire and Jess. Now it's asking me for 175 grams of plain flour. That goes straight into the mixing bowl as well. Then next on the screen, I need some icing sugar, 50 grams of icing sugar. Now this has been done in a Thermix as well. So for the Thermix owners out there, make sure you don't buy icing sugar, caster sugar, just 1 bag of granulated sugar, and make your icing sugar 10 seconds, speed 10, and you've got the perfect icing sugar. So that goes within the butter and the flour. And now it's asking me to put the lid on. And next step, we're going to mix that for 10 seconds, speed 6. So a bit like the cheese scones. Oh, Jess is showing us the scones there.
Just about
Look
to go in
really
the oven, so the cheese is on the top now. So
beautiful. So with that recipe, you've managed to do about 6 scones then.
yeah, with this size cutter, it's done 6. I would have normally, if I've my normal one, I probably would have got 8 or 9. If it's a smaller one. So yeah.
Brilliant. So here I've just done a bit like the scones that Jess done. So we've just mixed that flour, the butter, it's just all disappear the butter. And as I say, having cold butter makes it much easier. And now we're going to add 2 yolk straight in. So this is a really pretty pastry as well. It's nice and yellow, not, you know, those some other pastries, like if you do like a normal savory tart, there's no yolk in there, so it's going to be quite white, but this one has got a beautiful color. So yolk's in there next. And here we're going to use the turbo function. So we've got it on 2 seconds, and the Semix is asking me to turn 5 times to the turbo function. So turbo function is just pulsing straight away to speed 10, and so I've done it once, twice, 3 times, 4, and 5. And again, I don't know if you can hear it, because with the mic you probably can't hear it, but you can hear that dough coming together after the 5 times. So if you're quite happy after 4 pulses, you can stop there. But you can see here, it's just mixed it perfectly. So now I need to just get that out onto, so it's asking me actually to put it on the, what did you say, on flour your surface, sorry, but I'm actually going to use cling film, because I think it's just, with this pastry, the less you actually touch it, the better it is, because you don't want to bring any warmth into it. So I'm just going to use a cling film with a spatula and just put the pastry straight in there. I'm just bringing it out. It is quite sticky. Smells lovely. Unfortunately, you can't smell. And a little tip as well is when you've managed to bring as much as you can after the mixing bowl, if you've got some dough left on the blade, just put it back on your Thermomix and just do 10 seconds speed 5, and that will release any dough stuck on the blade. So you don't waste as much, and it just makes it easier to clean. So I'm just going to go on manual way and just put speed 5 for 10 seconds, and it's just, you can hear it again at the noise. That is no more pastry left in the blade. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it as a shape of a ball, and that's going to go in the fridge for 1 hour. So again, it's exactly what I said with the butter. This pastry has to be really, really cold just to work. So when you roll it, it will work much better. So there you go. I've cleaned the blades here, and just going to show you the cling film in a minute. There you go. So I've just transferred everything on the cling film, and I'm trying not to actually touch the pastry with my hands. So I'm using the cling film to bring it together as a dough, as a ball. And so it's quite soft, so you have to work quite quickly. And then just shape it like that as a ball. And I'm going to put that now in the fridge for 1 hour. And we will come back later on to make the custard. So we're going to go back to Jess now, or Claire?
I'm happy you can come back to me, because I think this is cold enough now.
Okay, let's carry on.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in the eggs, because it's now cooled down. And next, it tells me to preheat the oven, which my oven is on 200 degrees, and I've lined my baking paper or my baking trays. So back into the Thermomix, put the lid on without the measuring cup in, because we're now going to add in the eggs. So the instructions just tell me to turn the speed selector to speed 5 and follow the next steps. So let's get my eggs, which I've got here. Oops. So on to speed 5. Okay, and I'm going to add them in slowly. Okay. I'll just stop it after the last egg, so it doesn't take very long to do. Okay, it tells me to put the mixing cup in. I'm just going to mix it together again, just for 5 seconds. Sorry, 30 seconds at speed 5. Mix it all up together. And then once it's done, it'll go into a piping bag. So I've got my piping bag here from earlier. So I'll put it into here and I'll pipe out my eclairs. I'm not going to show you do that because I'll be rubbish at it. So I'm going to pipe them all out onto a baking tray and put them in the oven and bake them. So here's my my mixture. So it's nice and firm. So it's going to go into the piping bag, and I'm going to pipe them out as eclairs. And then I'm going to sprinkle the cheese over the top. So here's some I did earlier. You can see all of those. So I just did a few earlier, and I will do the rest. And I'm going to fill these with the other mixture. So I don't know if I want to go back. You want to go back to Jess while I pipe out my things? Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. So Jess going to start the yogurt mousse.
Yeah, okay, so this is the cookie dough recipe, so I'm just going to do what the ladies have done and just load up my menu. So yeah, lime yogurt mousse with a strawberry coulis. It's delicious. So first of all, it's telling me I need to soak 3 gelatin leaves while I then carry on. So I'm just going to. So I've got 3 gelatin leaves. I've just got a tub of cold water. So we're just going to plop those in those for 5 minutes whilst we then carry on with the rest of the recipe. So again, like what Audrey said earlier, you don't need to, once you own a Thermomix, you do not need to buy icing sugar or granulated caster sugar or anything. You just literally have 1 bag of sugar. So it's asking me to put 70 grams of sugar in, and it's going to blitz this to into icing sugar. So speed 10 for 10 seconds. And it's now just grinding all the sugar granules up into powder. There we go. So and then it wants me to put them to one side for later. You saw, so I'm sure most of you. Oh, and you get a nice mouthful of powdered sugar. So I'm just going to pop that into my bowl for later. I'm not trying to be too messy. I would say with this, if you saw me earlier, I needed to make sure that the bowl was absolutely bone dry. Otherwise, you'd just get wet sugar granules. So yeah, you just need to make sure that everything is bone dry. Okay, so pop that back on. Ice and sugar everywhere. Okay, so now I want me to put the butterfly whisk in. So do that. And then 200 grams of double cream. So if you are following a diet, I'd look away now. So you've got 200 grams of double cream. Okay. And then it wants to just whip this to not fully whipped cream, but you need to do it so it's stiff enough but still pliable. If that makes sense. I'll show you once I've done it anyway. So it just wants you to do to speed 3, and then I'm just going to take the lid off, loose it, so I can then watch it.
The cream has to be really cold. Does the recipe says your cream has to be cold for that recipe, or?
No, because it's all going to go back in the fridge. So because we're going to be mixing the cream with the yogurt, and then it goes into the fridge for 2 hours to set anyway. So don't worry, I have made some, so you will see the end result.
Yeah, that recipe is good because you can actually make it the day before if you wanted to, is it? You don't have to prep on the day.
No, yeah, you could do it, say, the day before, even you could even do it like Friday night, because it can stay in the fridge for up to 2 to 3 days, so that's not a problem. So I'm literally just watching. So sometimes with double cream, if you literally just turn away, you'll get butter, which you can make also. So I'm just gonna, and I think I've just done that.
Oh, it's easily done, is it? It is.
That's what I'm saying. You literally just turn away, and it. No, I can rescue that. That's. Just gonna check it. Yeah, no, I can use that. That's fine. So it's just gone a little bit. It's just starting to go a little bit over. But that's fine. That's still usable. And this is it. So because you can make butter in this, and it's exactly the same using your double cream and your whisking until it all separates. So remove the butterfly whisk inside. And we're going to just put this in a separate bowl.
Claire, your piping looks really good. You didn't have to worry about anything. It looks good. I don't know what the others are thinking, but it's a 10 out of 10.
Because she's not on the show, that's why.
Yeah. So there's my. I've not quite finished all the batter, but so the recipe says it makes 16. So I don't know if I'm doing these too big. It probably tells me what size I should be doing them. This isn't quite all of them. 10 centimeters it says, so I guess that's about right. So I've done those. I've just sprinkled on the parmesan over the top as well, and I'm going to bake them for 15 to 20 minutes in the oven. So I'm going to stick those in, but I have got them prepared already. So
yeah, and on a choux pastry, if you sometimes when you just pipe it's got a little pick at the bottom, at the top. If you want to bring that pick down, just have a wet finger. Just put your finger in water and just tap it down so it's nice and smooth. It hasn't got any pick. They look good, and it's homemade. It doesn't have to be perfect, is it?
No.
So Jess, are we carrying on? Yeah, we're carrying on with your yogurts. Yeah,
so I'm just going to add in some lime juice. It's just your bottled. You can squeeze freshly lime juice if you wanted to. So it just wants 30 grams in there. Just flip it over. And then it's just going to mix that. So basically it's just going to heat this up now, just gently to 60 degrees. So it's there's a 2-minute countdown there if you wanted to do another one.
Yes, I'm going to start the custard then. You've got 2 minutes there, did you say?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to do the custard then for the fresh fruit tarts. Okay, and this is again super easy to do in a Thermomix. Because we all know custard without Thermomix can be, well, it can burn at the bottom, it can be quite lumpy, or you just have to stand for 10 minutes with your whisk. So yeah, hopefully if you have your Thermomix, you've made custard before. So I just need to have a clean bowl. So I've just got a clean fresh bowl to start with, and I'm going to put 70 grams of caster sugar. Now, actually, I've just got granulated sugar there. So before I'm going to carry on with the recipe, I'm just going to mix this sugar to 10 seconds, but speed 5 for caster sugar. So I'm just going to go on the manual way, put 20 seconds and speed 5. So again, with your Thermomix, make sure you don't buy caster sugar or vanilla sugar like what Jess was saying. So the little tip is when you make a recipe, always read the ingredients first, because if you are going to need caster sugar and you haven't got it, then make that before starting your recipe. So just put your sugar in there like what I'm doing and just grind it. And then you can then carry on with your recipe. So here we go. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it, but we've got a much more refined sugar there. Okay, so now 70 grams of caster sugar, and we need 40 grams of corn flour to obviously make our custard nice and thick. There we go, that goes straight into the bowl. Then next, we're going to need 500 grams of milk. So I've got the scale ready, and I'm just going to measure 500 grams straight into the bowl. Now, if you're new to your scale with the TM6, because obviously when you have a TM5 and you jump to a TM6, the scale on the TM6 is so precise, 1 gram per 1 gram. So if you're new to it, I always say put the lid back on and use an empty container or a bowl, for example. Put it on top of your lid. Then use your scale, stir your scale, and then measure it into the bowl. If you've put too much at this time, then you can remove it. It's not too late, because obviously if you do it straight into the bowl, then obviously it will be too late, is it, to remove ingredients. So just a little tip there. Then we need to add 2 large eggs and also 2 egg yolks. So I've got 4 egg yolks and 2 whites in there. So that goes straight into the mixing bowl. And it's asking for 1 vanilla pod with seeds only, but I don't know where you are in your shops. I cannot find any vanilla pods at the moment. It's a nightmare. So I'm just going to use vanilla extract, about 1 teaspoon. It's obviously not the same, because I find that if you use vanilla seeds, it's much more, the flavors are amazing. And it's just make the crème pâtissière. It's got those little black dots on it, and that's how it should look, is it? So, but I've just put 1 teaspoon there, and I'm literally just going to put the lid back on. And the Thermomix has 7 minutes set up on the clock, 90 degrees, and we're just going to turn it to speed 4. And that's it. That would be the custard done. So do we want to go back to Jess with the coulis?
Yeah. So that's now heated the lime juice up, and now it wants me to add in the gelatin leaves. So you basically just squeezing all the water out, so they've soaked in the water, just squeezing so they're nice jelly. And then just place them, make sure that they actually sit underneath so they go to the bottom of the blades, because what it's going to do now is it's going to dissolve them. So it's going to heat up and dissolve those. So I'm just going to put speed 2. I'm just going to increase that, because I know it's saying until they're dissolved, and it put it at 5 seconds, but it's going to need a little bit longer than that just to dissolve. 60. Yeah, can't see any shiny at the moment. So now we're going to put the butterfly whisk back in. And now Tesco's have got the vanilla pods. I managed to find in Tesco's they've got vanilla pods. They were hidden. I was searching everywhere for them, but they were in the they weren't with all the baking aisle. So I managed to get those.
Yeah.
So there was 2 pods in there.
Smells so good as well.
Yeah,
I don't know.
so I've already scraped out
at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
I've already scraped out all my seeds there. So I'm just literally, so it wanted a whole pod of seeds to go in this. So I'm just going to pop those in now. And then it wants 200 grams of yogurt. It's saying 1.5% fat. I've just picked a natural yogurt here, so you could use whatever yogurt
Or
you
you
like.
could make
really.
you can make your yogurt as well, plain yogurt in your Thermomix, but obviously that you will need to do that prior.
Beforehand.
Yeah. Have you tried making yogurts in your Thermomix, Jess?
I haven't, no. Is that's my next challenge, is it?
It is amazing. It's worth trying.
I will certainly try that one. So yeah, that was the natural yogurt, and then it wants 60 grams of creme fraiche. So
if you're making yogurt, use gold top milk. It's the best.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one?
The gold top. So with the cream on the top.
I used to have that as a child.
Yeah.
We have a local farm that does Jersey milk. That would make it rather nice, would it?
Yes, that'd be lovely.
That'd be really nice.
Actually, we've just got in our greengrocers just got is just doing milk now from a local farm that's only 2.5 miles away. So a self-serve milk thing. So I might go and try them.
Yeah, my friend tried it the other day, and she says that's it now. The kids won't.
Really, they're
they've had to
converted.
cancel the milkman.
Excellent.
Okay, so it wants me to put in just 50 grams of the icing sugar that we made earlier. So before we had 70 grams that we made, so I'm going to keep 20 grams back. So, and that'll be for the coulis. So I'm just going to put in the 50 grams. There we go, a little bit over. And then put the lid back on. So 30 seconds at speed 3.5. So it's now just basically just going to whisk all that back up to a lovely creamy mixture. I'm going to get some glasses. Now you can use whatever glasses you've got. I've got some nice little ones like these, but I've only actually got 3 of those. So this recipe, it says it makes 6 portions. I've got some lovely martini glasses, stolen from my husband. So I'm just going to use that for these. But say any like pretty little glass, or even like a little vase one, it's not a problem. And now we're going to put my whipped cream. Add that back in. Oh, the smell of the vanilla. Beautiful.
I'm coming round, Jess.
That's fine, I'll save you some. If you can get through the traffic lights.
Yeah.
Okay, so lid back up. So it's just put that all back together. Another 20 seconds of stirring to that one.
This is the type of kind of pudding you will find in the restaurants, is there? You will not think of making that at home, but it looks so easy to do.
Yeah, and that's it. So I think with anything, it's just no hassle. It's just there. So you're not at the stove heating and mixing and continuously stirring. So 20 seconds of stirring. That probably would have been about 3 minutes if you were doing it by hand. So remove the butterfly whisk. Liquidy there. To the sink. And then, so now it wants to say, it says divide between 6 glasses, dessert glasses, approximately 140 grams each. So I'm just going to do these here so you can see.
Wow,
so again,
look at the texture. So
you can fill it to as high or as low as you like, really. Depends how much of a sweet tooth, I suppose, you've got. So I've still got more in because, say, it needed 6 glasses. And now you just put these back in the fridge for a minimum of 2 hours until they're set. So I have got some pre-prepared, so when we come back to me, I can show you that one. Did you want to go?
Yeah,
I can just finish off. I can just finish off mine if you
mine.
like.
Yeah,
if
because
you
I
want,
need to
Claire.
clean the bowl before I do the coulis, so I'll go and clean.
Okay.
So the last step of mine is I'm just going to do the filling. So basically it's like a prawn mayonnaise really. So I made some mayonnaise this morning. If you haven't made mayonnaise, it's dead easy to do. You just drizzle the oil onto the lid and it just goes through the little gap around the measuring cup. So 110 grams of mayonnaise.
So
Always make mayonnaise.
While you're doing that, so I'm just showing the custard there, the crème pâtissière. It's just finished. You can see nice and smooth texture as well. So I'm just going to transfer that. Carry on, Claire.
Okay. I've got some lemon zest. And the juice of a lemon. Some Dijon mustard, which I have here. So just 1.5 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. Some black pepper, always black pepper. And a bit of salt. So this is just my mayonnaise mixture. Lid on. Just going to mix this together. And then I've just got, as I said, the recipe says crayfish. I like prawns, so I bought some prawns. And I'm just going to mix the prawns into that, and then I will fill my. I'm going to stick the prawns in here.
Yeah, Claire, I'm coming round for that one.
Yeah, I'll bring some round to you. Because I can't actually eat them all, and nobody else in my house will eat them. Right, so I'm just going to mix that together, the prawns with the mayonnaise. Throw my spatula around the place. And then I'll fill my eclairs with those, and I'll show you the finished article. There's a bit of rocket in there in the eclairs as well. So I will do that now, so you can see them, and then I will taste them for you and tell you what they're like. So if you want to carry on with the next thing, Audrey, while I'm doing this.
Brilliant. So I just want to show you, I've just poured the custard into to a container. So it says that, and then always use a clean film. And again, the recipe will tell you that on a fan mix. So cover it with a clean film and press it down onto the surface of the crème pâtissière, and that will just avoid to to have that thick layer of skin that you normally have on top of your custard. So literally with the cling film, I'm just pressing it down to the surface of the crème pâtissière. So I'll show you that in a minute. So I don't know if you can see. So just press it down to it's touching there, and that will obviously avoid to have that thick layer. And once you've done that, you just need to leave it to cool down at room temperature for 1 hour, and then after that to chill for 2 hours. So don't worry, like Jess, I've done a crème pâte done yesterday, so I've got one ready. So that's going to go on the side. And then the next step on this recipe now is to roll your pastry. So like Claire, I'm not going to roll my pastry live because it tends to go terribly wrong when I do it. So I've done it. I've done some yesterday. So I've rolled a pastry. Now the recipe is little tart, individual tart that you are making. So I've used this to bake it. So it's a 10 centimeters diameter tart, loose bottom as well. And I find that this is so much easier once your pastry is done to just come out. If you haven't got one of those, then you could use a normal whole size tart and you could make just one big one, it will work absolutely fine. So once you roll your pastry, you just have to put it into your tart, your little case, and you just want to prick the bottom, of the pastry, and that will go in the oven for about 9 minutes at 180 degrees. But you need to put some baking paper with those baking beans on top. So obviously your pastry will cook, but it will not rise while it's cooking. And after 9 minutes, you just remove the baking paper with the beans and just finish it for another 5 minutes at 180 degrees. So you get then some nice color on your base there. So this is one that I've done yesterday. So you could prepare the pastry the day before, cook them. My mom actually makes some and she freezes them. Once they're baked, she would just put it in the freezer and she can just use it whenever she does it. I've never done it, but apparently it just doesn't do anything to the pastry. So this is a tip that I've just learned from my mom when I was talking to her yesterday. She said, oh, you could have made it last week if you wanted and just freeze it. So here we go. So yes, this is how to make those lovely little pastry tarts. So are we going to go back to Jess?
Yes, I'll do the strawberry cookie now. It's seconds.
Brilliant.
So it's basically just strawberries, the lime juice, some basil leaves. If you don't like basil, leave them out. You can add whatever you like, really. So it wants 150 grams of strawberries. So I'm just going to pop those in there. 20 grams of lime juice. And again, if you're not a lime fan, you can, if you like lemons or leave it out, that's not a problem. The rest of the ice and sugar, put that in there. Take it off the top plate. And then, so it basically said a sprig of parsley, just the leaves. So I've just got the leaves there ready. It's just going to mix those all up. So it wants to go to speed 6 for 10 seconds. Just going to blend everything together. It comes out quite coarse. So if you want it a little bit more smoother, just grind it for a little bit longer. And then now to serve. So I'm just going to let that droop down, but you can see, oh, the smell. So I'm just letting that drip and then I'll pour there. So that's everything.
Beautiful.
So I've got that now ready to decorate the, so you basically pour that on top of the yogurts there. So I can do those for finishing.
Okay.
The scones are finished now, so I'll plate those up and you can see those. Do you want me to demonstrate the onion chutney? I haven't made one.
Yeah, or you can just talk us through of how you've made it, because obviously the recipe's on Cookie Dough.
Yeah. So it's a red onion chutney. So I made it yesterday because it does say you basically chop the red onions in the Thermomix for just chop them down and then you cook them for 20 minutes. So this is on the caramelization setting, which is one of the new features on the TM6. So it's a higher temperature, and you can hear the blade. It will stop and start, so it knows at what temperature it needs to be without burning, basically. So it will do that for 20 minutes, and then you're adding red wine vinegar. So I've got everything else I was going to do if we needed to. Some chili if you wanted a bit of chili. I know when I've made it in the past, I also add some raisins in or currants, but that's completely optional. And then and some sugar, some brown sugar as well. This one I made yesterday with the same recipe. It was a little bit sweet. I have got a sweet tooth, and it was just a little bit sweet for me. So I would halve the sugar on that, so it's not too sickly. and then you then let it cook for another 25 minutes, and then you basically just seal it in a airtight container, and then, oh yeah, that smells amazing. So it's quite a chunky chutney. So if you didn't want it as chunky, you can grind it down some more. But yeah,
when I make it, I just slice I halve my red onion, and then I just slice it the onion quite thinly when I make it. And
see, I just quartered them, so they were.
I think the recipe says to quarter them. Yeah, but I slice it a bit more. But I use them. I mean, I use them at the cafe where that I have as well. Just put them in cheese toasties. Yeah, they're fantastic in cheese toasties. They just elevate the cheese toasties so much.
Yeah, I would say with cheese scones, they are to die for.
Yeah. So my my eclairs are ready. So you can see those.
Yeah.
So they look good. With a bit of rocket, and just I've put the prawns in, or the crayfish if you're using crayfish, just with the mayonnaise, and they look really lovely. And just so to show you that they did actually work, the ones I have just cooked. So there we go. They're the ones that I've just cooked as well. So
nice,
they've puffed up really nicely.
Yeah. Brilliant.
So to fill those.
Brilliant. So just to come back to the fruit tart, the last step in the recipe is to make the glazing that we're going to use to glaze, obviously, the tart. So this is quite really quick to do as well. The recipe asking us to use 160 grams of apricot jam and a little bit of water, and then you just melt it, cook it for 3 minutes, 100 degrees, speed 1 in your TM6. So it just melts everything, and with a brush, it would be really easy just to glaze your tart. Now, I haven't used apricot jam. I've used a French jam that I've made last summer with my mom in France, and I brought them back all here. So it's actually called, it's a Mirabelle jam. I don't know if you know Mirabelle. They are little plums we make in France. We use them a lot for making tart or clafoutis or things like that. So that's what I've been using. You literally can use any type of jam that you want. So I'm just going to leave that on the side for now. And then when I assembled all the tarts at the end together, I will just glaze it. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do our last recipe. That is the juice. That's, you know, after you've done a nice afternoon tea with your mom, or, you know, a nice fresh juice full of vitamin will just go really nicely. So I'm just going to go on to my wheat again. And so it's called a golden fruit smoothie. So it is a smoothie, but if you want to have it more liquid, at the beginning we've got some bananas. So you could, instead of having 2 bananas in the recipe, just put 1 banana and it won't be as thick. So if you want it more as a juice, just reduce that or add a little bit more liquid, but I'm going to tell you that as I go along. So I'm just going to start the recipe. So as I say, this is from the American website, Cookie Do. So all the measurements are in ounce, but you know, your Thermix will be automatically programmed for ounce. So you don't have to change anything, just follow what it says on the screen. So here I've got a whole tray of lots of fruits that I'm going to put in. So we're going to start with 2 medium bananas. So it says 5 ounces, but it's 2 bananas straight into the mixing bowl. Then next, we want some pink grapefruit. So I'll literally just remove the skin and quarter them, and that will go straight in there. So it's about 1 grapefruit as well, 8 ounces. So straight in there. Next, we've got some orange. So 7 ounces, but it's literally 1 orange, although mine were quite a small one, so I've put 2 oranges. And this is the beauty with this juice. You can play with the quantities, with the flavor. If you want something more orangey, then just add more oranges. Then the next ingredients is some fresh turmeric. Now, I didn't have fresh turmeric, but the recipe says if you don't have fresh turmeric, you can just literally just use ground spiced turmeric. So I've got 1 teaspoon that goes straight in there, and that's going to bring a little kick and lovely flavor into the juice. And in terms of vitamin in that smoothie, it's just, it's full packed. It's, when you drink it, it's like a ray of sunshine. So a day like that, when it's gray and miserable, making that juice really good. So the next step, we want to add some pineapple. So it's about half of a pineapple. You can use fresh, or you can use frozen one and just defrost it as well. So that's what I've got here, some frozen one that I just defrost, and that goes straight into the mixing bowl. And next we want some lemon. So 1 lemon, again, that I've just peeled and quartered, and that goes straight into the mixing bowl. And next we need some ice cube. Oh, I'm just going to bring that out. So we're going to put some ice cube. I should have brought them a little bit out actually, because they are all in one block. Let's see if I can get some. Here we go. Here we go. I've just put 3 for now. Some ice cube in there, and then finally some coconut water, unsweetened coconut water. And this again just brings some lovely flavor into it. So we want 4 ounces. I've got no idea what 4 ounces is, so I'm just going to follow Thermomix. It's just calculating it for me. I think it's about 100 ml. It looks like more or less what I've put in. But if you want your juice at this stage to be a little bit more liquid, then just add more coconut water if you want to, but I will show you at the end. And it's asking as well for 1 teaspoon of coconut oil. That again would just bring some lovely flavor into it. So I'm just going to add a bit of coconut oil. And I think after a long winter, this juice and the coconut oil and everything just brings some glow. If you drink that every day, I'm sure your skin will be glowing after a while. So we're just going to mix all of that for 3 minutes, speed 10. So we're literally smoothing everything, pureeing all the fruit for 3 minutes. Okay, so Jess and Claire, you are preparing everything.
Yeah, mine's all ready. I'm just, because I've already chopped all the onions and everything up, I'm actually going to make a second batch of onion chutney for me for later. So I'm going to do that whilst we're finishing off.
Brilliant. So what I'm going to do is actually make the fruit tart. Hopefully you can hear me. It's noisy here with the smoothie going on. Okay. So this is some custard that, or creme pat that I've made yesterday that has been cooled down. And with the kimchi on here, it's just no skin or curd on top. Now what I've done is this morning, it was cold. It was not really easy to put on a pastry. So what I've done is, because it looked like a bit like scrambled egg texture, and it wasn't easy to spread. So what I've done is I put it back on the Thermomix and just mix it for like 20 seconds, speed 5, just to make it nice and smooth again, so it's easy to spread on the top of your tart. So I'm just going to use a spoon. And so just take your tart, okay, and then just spread it nicely around the case. So be quite generous with the custard there, because it's just, well, it's nice to just have a good thick layer of custard. So just fill it up. And the recipe tells you to just bring the custard a little bit at the bottom, at the middle. So just bring it back on top. So then when you put your fruits on, it will be just nicely and sitting together. And so for a little bit more. Okay, and then once you put your custard, literally just use any fruits that you want and scatter it on top. And just press it down so the fruits are nice and sitting. So this is what I've made earlier. And you can use, so I've used raspberry, blueberries and kiwi there, but you can use anything you want. And what I'm going to do now is just use the jam that I made earlier. It's nice and liquid there with a little brush. And I'm just going to brush it on top of the fruit, and it's just give a nice glaze. Let's try to do that in front of you. Oh, the thermix has stopped. When this does smoothie, it is quite noisy. So you can see here, I've just used, so I don't know if you can see, but it's nice and shiny now. It's like if you were going to a French bakery, you can do that at home. Same quality. Here we go. So this is fresh fruit tarts done. Okay, and I'm going to show you the smoothie now as well, because that's finished.
They look delicious, Audrey. Why are you in Birmingham?
Yeah, you can come to mine if you want, but yeah, it's going to take a while for you to to come all the way there. So look at that beautiful color there. I don't know if you can see, and it smells lovely. So I'm just going to transfer that into the jug, and look how perfect texture this is.
Wow.
So say if you want it a little bit more liquid, like juicy texture, just add a little bit more of coconut water. And then I'm just going to have a little try. So here I've got a glass. And here we go. This is lovely juice smoothie done. I hope you will try it. Okay. Are you ladies? Oh, is it some comments there? Just reading.
Just asking about the browning, how to any tips for getting the brown after you've been browning onions to get them off. So
yeah.
Claire's just replying.
Brilliant. Made by Scones. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, this recipe at the end of the chutney, does it ask you to use the vinegar method as well to clean?
It doesn't on this one. It did on. There was a recipe I used the other day. Oh, what was that one? And that did at the end of the recipe. It did say it did the
vinegar
browning.
wash.
Yeah. So. But no, yesterday when I did this, I literally just put the browning pre-clean on with some vinegar in, and then like Claire, just used the scourer at the end just to get the last little bit.
So I just use these.
Yes.
Yeah.
These little scourers. One of these.
Absolutely, yeah. I use
and they
that
pretty
as
much
well.
get everything off. They get everything off.
Yeah, because that's one thing is if you don't actually, if there's any burn or brown bottom left and you don't actually clean it nicely, the next time you're going to use your thermic, I find that it stays there and it's just going to burn more, is it? So you need to get rid of any brown, or little burn. But yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Claire, for replying to that. And I hope, Stuart, that's answered your question. Okay, so I think we're coming to the end of it now. You've presented your little scones, Jess, and your yogurt. Do you want to show the final bits?
Yeah, so there's the scones. So yeah, they're pretty big. Delicious. The smell is amazing. So then I've just cut one in half here and then serving it with the onion chutney. And then these are the prepared yogurt mousses. So
that looks lovely.
They look great.
They look really, really nice. The coulis on the top. So I'm just going to see if I can put that there. I'm just going to. So this is the first test. Just going to see how it comes out.
Texture's like.
The texture. Well, it's covered in coulis, but yeah, that looks. Can't probably see.
Looks really good.
But yeah, so the coulis quite a. And I'm now going to taste. Really smooth. Oh, that's better that side. So let's see there, but yeah,
beautiful.
Really, really smooth and soft. That's really nice.
This is the only problem about doing online demonstrations is that
we have to eat it.
We have to eat it all.
I know. We're so sorry, ladies. We're having a really hard job by cooking, demonstrating to you, and then we just have to eat it all.
I've got a husband waiting for the cheese scones.
So I'm just glazing the last fruit tarts there. So I've got 4. And so hopefully you can see with the glazing how pretty it is. And here as well, the juice that we've made. So that's for me here. And Claire, you've showed your eclair earlier as well. So ladies, you can unmute
They're all still there. I
yourself.
haven't eaten one yet.
You can unmute yourself. Any question that you have of what you've seen today?
It all looks fantastic. I wish I lived near one of you at least. No, it looks fabulous. I'm really. Can I just ask? I'm really interested that Jess has used her own. You've used your own scone recipe. I'm got a heap of cookery books, and I've been doing that, and with a bit of trial and error, I think it's just made life so much easier. I've been making all sorts of things that I wouldn't normally do out of, I don't know, Delia or anybody, and just adapting, and it's just speeded up the process. But without having to think, oh, I need a new recipe. We know we like certain things, but it's just made the whole process quicker and easier. So I'm really, really glad that, because I thought I was being a bit, sort of random by, using my old cookery books and then, sticking it in. But no, I'm really impressed with that, because that's exactly what I've been doing.
And I think that just shows, say, the versatility of it. That you can say you do have to do a trial and error.
Absolutely.
Because there's different methods, but and say I found this just I love them. So
yeah, no, I agree. I make a boiled fruit cake. I have done for a long time. That's a very favourite in our house, and thought there's got to be an easier way of doing this. So I tried it all in the Thermomix, and I've only had one mishap where I didn't put the blade on reverse, so we had a completely smooth. But actually, it's things like that I can stick on and make an easy boiled fruit cake, which sounds ridiculous.
Oh, brilliant.
That has made 10 minutes, and I've got it all done, and then just cool and mixing in the oven. So yeah, I'm really impressed. Yeah, my TM5's going nowhere.
That's brilliant to hear. So which, out of all the recipes you've seen today, which one do you think you may do for Sunday, or ask someone to do it for you if you're a mom?
I'm very drawn with the eclairs. I am a prawn fan, so I like that idea. I have a daughter who likes prawn, so I think I
love prawns.
Might have a mum and Sophie cooking day, I think, and have a go at those.
Excellent.
And the cake,
excellent. No, they are tasty.
Yeah, and the pastry eclair, you could make it, the choux pastry and the eclair, you could make it the day before as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Just to show you what they look like inside as well. So you just slice them open. So you can just see that they're completely aerated inside, hollow inside. So they're good.
Perfect.
Yes.
Brilliant. Well, I will definitely try the cheese scones and the yogurts. Yes.
Yeah, very tasty. The smell in here is, and now I've got the onions cooking.
The onions going. Yeah.
Making another chutney.
Yeah.
I've
chopped everything up.
Cheese scones for lunch, though. I can't not. Seeing those cheese scones there, I'm thinking, I can't cope with just a sandwich today. I think I'm going to go and get some cheese scones while I'm working. And that's the beauty of it, though, isn't it? Being able to do things in a short time.
I've got my cheese scones from yesterday.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's great.
And with the white eggs, with the recipe of the crème pâtissière and the pastry, we've got 4 white eggs left doing nothing there. So yesterday I made some little meringue.
Oh.
Just cut them into heart shapes. So this is another idea. Instead of wasting your whites, you can do that.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, ladies, for joining. I hope you really enjoyed it, and I hope it has inspired you to get ready for Mother's Day. And so we will be sharing with you the recipe of the scones, and as I say, all the recipes that we've made are all on Cookie Dough, so you can find them. But if you are not sure where to find them, just contact your advisor, and we'll be happily helping you. We will be sending as well the link for for just giving mother aids, women's aids,
Women's
sorry,
aid.
if you want to participate. And don't forget to hashtag as well. We will put that on the email. If you want to be in a chance of earning a TM6. So who didn't have a TM6? Was it, who didn't have a TM6?
I'm on TM5 and my sister
you've got
hasn't
the
got one
TM5.
at all yet, so
That's it, yeah. So yeah, don't miss the chance. Who knows? If you are not in it, you can't win it. So just go for it. And I just would like to thank you very much, Claire and Jess, for the time as well and preparing everything. When we do cooking class, there is preparation going on at the back. So thank you very much, ladies, for your time and for getting everything ready and joining us today as well.
Thanks, Audrey.
thank you all.
Thank
It's been
you.
really good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no more questions, have all a lovely afternoon and we will see you soon for the next class. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
That was good.
Yes, it was good. Claire's gone. Yes, well done. Well done, Jess. Thank you very much. How did you feel after that?
Yeah, okay. I know I was a bit dithery sometimes, but no, it's good.
It went well. You know, I'm the same. Sometimes things doesn't go, or you know, you did absolutely brilliantly, and those recipes looks amazing.
Yeah, no, they are good. Oh, do you want to stop the recording?
Oh yes, thank you. I forgot
I
about
just saw
that.
it